Working with Mo over the last 90 days has been a great experience to rediscover myself and self-awareness and recognize the tools that are already in my toolbox, learning different ways to use those tools, and then sharpening some of those tools because I hadn't used them in a while, but also introducing some new tools. One of the tools that I really enjoyed having introduced and that I'm learning on different ways how to use is the breathing techniques. And I've never done breath work before. Well, I didn't think I'd never done breath work before, but a lot of it triggered like childhood as far as reaction to how maybe I responded to things as a child or what they teach you from watching Sesame Street. And it was really interesting. At the start of a session, we would start with breath work, and I would come in with a certain mood or feeling or emotion, and how doing that breath work just really eased the situation, brought clarity and focus to the conversations we were having. So the last year, I've been working with an executive coach, and I was a little bit nervous on how that would work together. But I quickly learned the tools that my executive coach and I had been working on. I was able to take some of the stuff Mo and I were working on and layer them together and really introduce that to my professional environment, but also my personal environment, where we spent a lot of time not only just talking about professional goals, but talking about personal goals beyond the workplace and how those two relate to each other and how we can use those skills to move on or move up and progress in life. I think it was rediscovering and really understanding my value to what I bring to the table. And as a woman, that's something that I think sometimes, especially in the workspace that I'm in, it can be a little bit challenging to kind of figure out or forget what it is that you're bringing to the table, and recognizing those times of like reflection, like, oh yeah, I got this, I know this, and doing exercises all the time and just making a part of your routine to continue to remind yourself. It's just like working out or training as an athlete. Like, you just can't walk on the field and expect to score that touchdown or that goal or to make that transition on the bar in gymnastics. Like, there's building blocks that you have to work on to get to those points. And that's what working with Mo's been like, and also working with that executive coach is just taking all those blocks and layering them in together. So one of the big surprises that I had from just reflection, and Mo's really helped with what journaling may look like. That was one thing I used to do actually as a child because I just enjoyed writing, is getting back to those childlike actions. And I would say bringing in a like play into it and really reaching back into your child self to like find ways to solve problems, but also not be scared to try them out. Because when you're a child, you don't always think through that type of stuff. You just do it. And then as you become an adult, you get jaded because of certain situations you've been in. And it's trying to let go of that and, hey, let's just try this and we'll see what happens and then we'll adjust. And it's just an evolution. And that's one thing that Mo's really helped with during these sessions, and even just as a professional working with her, she's really helped bring in that childlike play, which I think is very important for a leader. I think the timing of it, as far as having Mo come in, was perfect because I had a lot of these new tools from my professional coach that I was trying to figure out how to use, and then layering in what Mo had to provide to me and helped me recognize that I already had. it wasn't something that I wasn't necessarily worried about, but I was like, oh, I got this. Let's talk through this. Let's talk through the different situations that may come up, because my personality, I always think of 5 different situation scenarios, and then I have usually an answer or a way to respond to them. And having those different tools now to be able to respond to it in a way that I felt confident and in my decision making has really helped me be quicker now to make decisions. And it's something that, working with a professional coach, I've always wanted to do, because I've met other people along the way who had the privilege of doing that. So I was very excited to have this opportunity and to take advantage of working with Mo this time. So self-talk, I think, knowing myself, I mean, I've done years of like the self-improvement books, the testing, and I know naturally with my motivations, I don't speak kindly to myself. And here I teach my kids and talk to them. I'm like, you need to speak kindly. We don't talk to ourselves that way, but I wasn't doing that. And I think building that confidence has really improved that self-talk. And I've been able to recognize the situations a little bit quicker. It's like, okay, I'm going to start twiddling my thumbs because I'm getting into an emotion that I don't want to react to it. I need time to digest it. And this is what I have. This is what I've done. Okay. And you start to be like, wait, where's this person coming from? So it's a lot about like emotional intelligence, as well as you need to be aware of like, okay, what is this person's motivation? And having introduced the journaling and talking through like, hey, these situations that maybe you have control over, what you don't, that has really helped as far as like, okay, this is what happened. I'm recognizing the emotion. Now I'm moving on. I do notice, I usually know, I've always kind of recognized it right away, and I do stop it. And the way I stop it is like, I keep thinking back to what is it as far as a skill set that I already possess from something that I learned as a previous, like as an athlete, or from previous jobs or previous situations. Like, why do you think, like, why would I discredit myself as far as an individual who wouldn't know how to handle that situation? And it may take me a little bit of time to figure out how to resolve that moment that I'm in, but it's really going back to the value that I know I have, and just being aware of it and just practicing daily with the breath techniques and the journaling, that it's okay, that I'm okay, and that whatever's going on out there is usually probably not my problem, and it's not about me. So I don't think a lot has changed. I think a lot of, with the conversations that Mo and I had, how I did process information or situations, I was questioning like if I was crazy. And again, it goes back to building confidence, like, oh, I have been doing it the correct way. I have a few other ways to take care of it now. And there was nothing wrong with the way I was doing it before. And I think just now that I'm leaning more into that has really helped, because now I don't think that I'm totally out there and that I'm wrong. And I think really just every conversation that we had, it was a confidence boost. And it's something that I think you need, especially when you have a busy professional life and a busy home life. And it was just that hour was a very grounding moment as far as time for reflection and, hey, what's next? And how can we layer this all in? Working with Mo as far as assessing what's currently going on in my life, it really, the exercises we would go through really helped me identify what I value in myself. And if somebody rumbles that, it's okay for me to like, look, this is what's important to me. This is what I know I'm valuable for. And if you're not okay with it, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that individual, that situation. But I need to move on because that's just me growing as far as being more self-aware as an individual. And there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make you a quitter. It doesn't change that you're not committed. It's just you're becoming more confident, you're understanding your value, and you're becoming more self-aware. Mo really very organized individual and really took the time and investment in me as far as recapping and taking notes of our calls and sending those in a timely manner. I've saved all of them. I know I'll continue to go back to them. And also, even though we may be completed with our session now, I know that every 90 days I need to be going back and doing a life assessment. Like, okay, what's working? What's not working? Oh, what did I drop the ball on? And what do we need to maybe reintroduce into the next 90 days? The 90-day I really enjoyed because you're getting time to implement some of the things that you worked on, that Mo and I worked on, and I'm getting time to figure out and grow in that space. And it's, as an individual, you just continue, well, you should continue to progress. And there's going to be other things that come along because you're growing that I may have to circle back to Mo. It's like, okay, here's the new situation. Here's the new environment that I'm in. Look at where we've come from, but how do I manage this? Because you don't want to hopefully get stuck or stay in that same stagnant situation, especially when, as a creative, you don't want to stay stuck in that space either. And with the professional coaching, sometimes you don't realize how you're progressing, and you don't always get to take the time to step back and look. And working with Mo, it was helpful to see like, oh wow, look how far I've come in the last year and a half, and how I've grown as a professional. And growing as a professional hopefully overflows in the home life to where I am more enjoyable at home. Not that I wasn't before, but where you really know how to take advantage of that family time, or whatever your home situation looks like, that time away to grow as an individual as well. So I think my family knows because I'll come home and say, okay, to my husband, Mo told me we need to work. Mo and I discussed we need to work on this, and this is what you need to do. But also, there's been times where parenting comes up, and a lot of it sometimes relates back to work, like how I'm communicating to my 11-year-olds, which is a challenging communication time to begin with, and will be probably for the next, 5 to 7 years. And how I'm responding to her, maybe not in the moment it will make sense, but I hope over time she'll recognize that, okay, this is how we communicate with each other, and this is how I need to be communicating to myself. But there's times too where I'm learning things from my own kids that I'm like, oh wow. And I'm like, oh, I'm doing pretty awesome. My husband is too. Not just me. I think for the long game, it for me it's kind of one of those things where it's a little bit being more open-minded and focusing more on habits because you don't know how things are going to be like 5 to 10 years and you don't want to get yourself stuck where you're so focused on like this is where it's going to be and you don't recognize all the other opportunities around you. So to me, it's working on things like 1 year out, a year and 18 months out, and seeing where that goes because it's funny kind of how life works out sometimes. Working with Mo has been one of those things where just knowing her history as far as her education, her experiences, and having now this business and working with an accountability coach, if it's something that like you or an individual's hesitant about, you need to figure out how to make it work because it's an investment in yourself, but you'll become a better version of you, but also the rest of the world will get a better version of you. And like, that's the best thing you can contribute to those in your environment and to everyone around you. And we all need that. Having Mo as your accountability coach, she really introduces a lot of new tools and she does a great job recognizing what tools you already have and reminding you that they're there. And it's adding in different layers because not one tool always makes sense. Like you need a couple of them to get to that end result. And she does a great job of helping you find what works best for you. She doesn't force you into like, this is what it should be. We tried a couple different things and then we settle in like, this is what's working for me and why. I found the time by just making time for it. I looked at what was on uh, my list of things and reprioritized things. And I just made time for it. Like it was a non-negotiable. Like it was going to happen and I was going to figure out how to make it happen. And if that meant, if I had to pause on a project or something, I would find some other time to do it because to me that it was going to be looking in the long game of things. Working with Mo was going to help really just improve my productivity and improve the way I operate as an individual. I knew things needed to change, and I knew this was the first step to helping me figure out what needs to change. And then everything else was going to start falling into place once I figured out or was reminded of like, okay, this is what I have, this is what I don't have, this is where I want to go, maybe, or these are the skills I possess, and these skills are going to help me get to A to B.